Andrew Green with the super
Don't want
chat
to do that
says,
either.
Andrew Green with the super chat says, Peace Kings, glad Nas and 21 handle situation like men should. OG talk sidebar. Yo, Mike, is that the MJ Thriller replica varsity jacket? If so, fire, yes. Representing MJ today, Thriller is celebrating his 40th anniversary. I'm gonna get into that conversation too, because I
Today,
feel like, huh?
today,
Today. Yeah, not
today.
2 weeks
Today
ago
is
when they
today.
put
Yeah,
out that bullshit. The
today.
industry really,
Today's the day.
really, really played with this Thriller 40th anniversary release, and I got a lot to say about it. But
So what we doing? We doing Nas and 21? Or we
I was
doing
just about to
MJ
say,
and
man, let's
Thriller?
talk about
It's
this
all
Nas.
media related.
Let's talk about this
Yeah.
Nas and 21 song. One mic, one gun. What did you think about it?
I'm about to say, let's do what we always do and talk music first.
Yeah.
The record's dope. His hook game's nasty. He's one of the best hook writers ever. That's what I was thinking, like, when I'm listening to this record. I'm like, he's one of the best hook writers ever. And when you're a great hook writer, you can work with almost anyone. And he can. And so he is. This record is one of those good look records that actually sounds good too. It's a good look and it sounds good. So it works. It makes sense. I'm not saying it's some sort of groundbreaking collaboration. It's not that. But is it a dope ass song? Yeah. Can I rock to it? Yeah. Can I ride to it? Yeah.
I think it's a dope sentiment, right? And I also feel like Nas is showing that, you know what, I can make a song tomorrow and put it out. And a lot of artists from his era, a lot of the greats, I don't want to say from his era, just a lot of the greats, period. Even Kendrick Lamar gives us 5 years of break or whatever. Nas is like, yo, I can make something tomorrow, and I can link up with 21, and we could do this. And I could do something that's in his lane, because he didn't even really bring 21 to his world per se. He changed up his flow, as he's been doing a lot. And I mean, I'm just so impressed with what Nas has been able to do over the past 4 or 5 years. I still can't even believe it's happening in this way. Like I told you offline, he's not only the greatest MC ever, he's the greatest MC in the game right now. Like, even if 90s Nas and all that stuff didn't exist, and let's just say his first album was King's Disease 1, right? In
He'd be running this
2020,
rap shit right
I'd
now.
be like, he's the best rapper in the game right now.
Right.
I mean,
so hold on. So let's stop for a second. So that's the problem. Because we have too many people when a record like this comes out. And it's like, I've realized who it is and what it is. And I'm saying this respectfully as one of those people. Mike, do you understand that when Illmatic came out, you were 11 and I was 12?
Yeah, man.
Now, listen to what I'm about to say. There are dudes our age and dudes significantly older than us that are holding on to this moment in time because, and I realized this the other day, you know, it's almost like it's that Al Bundy shit, that 4 touchdowns in a high school game. I'm serious. So many black male from the inner city, Mike, have Illmatic attached to certain parts of their youth or teenage years.
And not just black. I mean, because we seen the Juan Epstein podcast pull the same thing. So yeah, it's not just black.
Well, just people in the culturally black sphere as well. The Afro-Latino community being included in that as well. It literally struck such a chord that people refuse to let it go. Like literally refuse. And so when they hear a record like this that they heard yesterday, here they come out the woodworks like parachuting down the pole like firemen, like, oh, I don't like this. Why he working with 21? Why would Nas do this? It's like, fam, he's 50, you're 60. Let that shit go. Because if you looked at it through the lens of, let's just say, Mike, let's not even give him King's Disease. No, let's say that he comes out as a new artist and the first album that you hear is Nasir. You would think, hey, that's a dude with a whole lot of promise. And then you were to hear King's Disease, you'd be like, oh shit. And then you would hear King's Disease 2, you'd be like, this motherfucker running this rap shit, about to keep running this rap shit. And then you were to hear Magic and King's Disease 3, what would you be saying?
Right.
You're saying this is the best rapper. This is one of the best rappers that I've ever heard. He's going down as one of the best MCs of all time right now. Look at these last 5 albums. The only one that you could say that's not great is the first one, which happens to people the first time around. That's how his last 5 album run looks. And so the fact that people are still like holding on to it instead of enjoying it like they do in other musical spheres.
And, you know, and continuously throwing the Jay-Z comparison out there, like Jay-Z shouldn't even be in the conversation. He hadn't put
This
out
has
an
nothing
album
to do
since
with him.
2017. Like Nas has put out 5 albums since Jay's last album.
This
So
has literally
he
nothing to do with him
he has
whatsoever. And
nothing to
I'm not
do with
saying that in
anything
any
that's
sort of
going.
shady way. It's just you have no place in this conversation unless you want to talk about the bars on Thun with the title and the takeover. So like unless you
Yeah.
want to talk about that, there's no relevancy to like Jay-Z to talking about Nas
Musically, no.
in relationship or perspective to this run, the music, the placement of current crop of MCs, which Nas should be placed in at the highest of the order, and Jay-Z should not be on the list because he hasn't made an album in 5 years.
No, it's true. And this man has made 5 and 4.
And they've been dope, Mike. Think about this. Nasir's the weakest project he's made in the last 5 years.
And if we want to even take that one out of the fold, he's made 4 and 2.5. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are we talking about? Let me get to some of these super chats because I do want to piggyback on that sentiment real quick.
Yeah, I have a couple more things I wanted to add.
Okay, yeah. Hold that thought. I want to get to the people real quick. Odell with the super chat says, "Peace, Kings. Are you guys dropping the A2HH written review for King's Disease 3? Rate the album using the template similar to what you guys do with the MC rating. The same template for important releases. Show how it's done. Show them how it's done. What are you thinking? I mean,
I actually thought about that there needed to be a physical documentation of it because it goes back to that trophy case thing, Mike, about how stuff gets remembered. And, you know, maybe we're going to get remembered as somebody and people who culturally had enough integrity that it'll be respected over a long course of time. And if we're fortunate enough that that happens, and this is what I mean when it happens over a long course of time. Well, some people just going to trust the Washington Post and the New York Times because it was just credible for so long that you're going to go dig into their archives and find the archives to be credible as well because it's what you know. And so from that relationship, I have felt the need to document this a little bit more.
So you're going to write a review?
It feels like that kind of is happening now. So yeah,
let's do it.
I have no problem with writing a actual physical written review. And you want to know what's funny? I'm not going to lie. Part of my elevator speech, when I talk to people about According to Hip Hop Live and the podcast, is it's like, well, I wrote this music review for Jay Electronica's album featuring Jay-Z, and we went viral, and I haven't written an article since. That's part of the elevator speech.
Bring it back to the basis. Mad Max says, "Give Me the Loot is not as good as Stop Being Greedy, and I personally know for a fact that when you with your girl and How's It Going Down comes on versus Big Papa, the girl's energy towards How's It Going Down is different." I love the fact that Mad Max
know about these things, young man? How many ladies have you been with, young man, that you know these things the way that you do?
Listen, man, Mad Max is...
I want you to understand something. When you're saying that Stop Being Greedy is better,
I think it is. I agree with that.
I'll give you the beat being better, but understand something about the back and forth when it happened. When Give Me the Loot happened, people thought that was Puff or Lil C's. We didn't recognize that was Big. You know that's DMX on Stop Being Greedy. So stop playing with me.
I don't know, man. I mean,
stop playing with me.
You know, I'm going to keep it real, though. I saw the Stop Being Greedy video first, and I was shocked that he had both of those different personnel. I think that I'm gonna keep it real. I think X did a better job with the two different voices because he had when the sun is up, the gun is up on the show. He was like, "Bros, all the gays, the buckshot."
No, that's the light side, but no, that's his conscious side and his dark side conversing with one another.
Could it have been influenced by Give Me the Loot? For sure.
Of course,
but he did it better. He did it better.
But listen to what I'm saying. When you're saying he did it better, the perspective is different. Listen to what I'm saying. DMX is having a conversation with the two versions of his inner self, the light side and the dark side. That's what Stop Being Greedy is.
Yeah.
Biggie is literally playing a whole nother character while they are out here in the street robbing niggas. That is a different characterization, and therefore a different vocal inflection, therefore a different take, therefore harder to pull off. DMX did not create a new character. He created It's the character from within being separated. Biggie created a whole nother persona on record. It's not the same thing.
I always
It's like
felt
writing.
like
That's the difference between writing about somebody else's life and writing about your own. DMX is writing about his life. Biggie's telling a story from two different people's perspectives and using a different voice for the different perspective.
I always felt like the MC.
Man, listen, all this walking is hurting my feet. Where money looks sweet. Where at? In the Isuzu Jeep. Man, I throw them in the beam. You grab the fucking cream, and then she start to scream, "Blom, blom, have a nice dream." Right.
I always felt like
that's characterization. That's giving characters life. That's different.
I always felt like that the MC that DMX was on the lighter side of not Give Me the Loot, Stop Being Greedy was like the MC that he was before he got signed or when he was with Rough House and all that. And I kind of wish he used that voice a little bit more because he was dope with that. You know what I mean? I think he kind of he didn't even use that on How's It Going Down. But the fact that he was able to revert back to his previous style and his new style on the same song, that shit was impressive. It's actually unheard of, actually.
No, I'm not saying it's not impressive, but when y'all are saying it's better than Give Me the Loot, I don't people are understanding what Biggie was really doing. He literally created a whole nother character. It's not a split persona as in Slick Rick, MC Ricky D, or two people inside of DMX. It's literally a whole nother person.
Yeah.
Literally a whole nother individual he's playing. He's playing two people at once.
KC1 with the super chat
he's
says...
Eddie Murphy and the Nutty Professor, except for he's robbing niggas instead of working with chemistry
Eddie Murphy
sets.
and the Nutty Professor.
Give me the baby rings and a #1 mom pendant.
KC1 says, y'all crazy. No Way in Hell, Ready to Die, or It's Dark in Hell Is Hot is better than the Infamous. No way.
I personally prefer the Infamous over both. That's me personally, though.
36 Chambers says, so then if Speakerbox / Love Below are solo joints, does that rewrite the notion that 3000 doesn't have any solo works in the MC all-time discussion? It is not a rap album. So no, that doesn't change anything. If Love Below was a rap album, we wouldn't be saying what we're saying. There is not a song on the Love Below where Dre has 3 rap verses or even 2 rap verses and a hook. It just doesn't exist. He has one song where he raps a long verse about his whole life from beginning to end, but that's it.
Nas has worked with 21 Savage more than Andre has. Let's talk about. Let me
get the rest of these super chats. I don't piggyback on that though. I know you have some more to say. Kendall Outlaw says, so you don't count the Love Below as an Outkast album, but you also don't count it as an Andre 3000 solo album. So what is it? I do count it as an Andre 3000 solo album. I do count it as an Andre 3000 solo album, but I don't count it as a rap album.
We can call it an alternative album if you want, but it's not a rap album. He call it an R&B album. R&B alternative.
Because a lot of people are even on the fence when it comes to Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill's album has Lost Ones, which is a rap song, has Doo-Wop, which is a rap song.
These are singles.
It also has The Final Hour, which is a rap song. 3 songs right there off the top, and I ain't even counting some of the verses she got on there, where she has a hook and 3 rap verses. Show me a song on the Love Below that fits that criteria. We gotta stop this, man. Dumb it down with the super chat says.
These were songs that got released. Lost Ones and Doo-Wop got played. 3 verses and a hook.
And see, and I think people are getting caught up in the verbiage and not the reason behind the verbiage. The reason why I say this is we don't know if rap-wise Andre can hold down a song by himself and how good it would be. We don't know. We just know how great he is when other people are on the record with him, rapping-wise. Lauryn showed us what a solo Lauryn song sounds like with Lost Ones. We don't have to imagine what Lost Ones or Doo-Wop would be. It happened.
What it sounds like?
We got evidence, man.
You know what it sounds like? You know what the evidence sounds like too? Great. Evidence is she one of the greatest rappers ever.
All time. Because if we put Doo-Wop in Lost Ones on a countdown, and not to mention a all-time countdown or female countdown, it's one of the greatest rap records ever. Now, can you guys tell me what record Andre has by himself that is one of the greatest rap records ever?
What, Doo-Wop or Lost Thing?
Both.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Both of them are right.
Doo-Wop is a brilliant record.
I was
not
actually
only
about to
did
say
she
Lost Ones is a brilliant record. Mike,
of
it's the
course,
best
Lost
sneak
Ones is
diss
just
record
great.
ever. It's the best sneak diss ever.
Lost Ones is just a great record. But with Doo-Wop, not only did she go and take some 50s, 60s style approach when it came to the hook and the imagery, she could have easily just sung that record. It's called doo-wop. But no, she chose to give you bars. And then when she gave you bars, she gave one verse for the women, she gave the other verse for the guys and what to look out for. It was a cautionary tale. It's a great record. It jams. It has a horn break. It has everything. And so to sit here and act like what Andre did on a rap level is the same as that, we can't discredit Lauren and the work that she did.
Doo-Wop or Hey Ya?
Doo-Wop's the better song.
Thank you. Okay.
Let's just keep it real. Dumb it down with the super chat.
Let's go back to what you wanted to piggyback off of what I said about just this run.
No. I'm gonna get back to the run. Let me finish these super chats real quick. Dumb it down.
Super chats.
Dumb it down says Speaker Box is better than Love Below and Stank on It. Y'all sleeping on Big. I I love that sentiment. I don't agree. I love Big, so I'm not mad at that. Mad Max with the super chat says, I need that Speaker Box versus Love Below battle because Speaker Box is way better. Y'all don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that.
Blue Collar Hustler with the super chat says, disagree with the Life is Good is in the top 10 in the 2010s. It's the last Nas album where you didn't have to fight his status with being recognized. CNN named him as rapper's greatest lyricist, #1 debut, MTV's hottest rappers list. Mad Max says, love Nas, respect for the union, but the song Kid, y'all wouldn't play this next week. I was talking about the song with 21. We're not going to play it next week. Mad Nan with the super chat says, let's be honest. Only Nas verses matter. 21 is mid. Mad Max says, mid, not Kid. Gotcha. Okay. And let me get through it real quick. 36 Chambers says, is this possibly a publicity stunt from 21? Saw someone say that this could have been a media thing generated to generate some buzz. Was it a plan? I have a theory, right? You want to hear my theory when it comes to this?
About to have some plug talk right quick. Go ahead.
Yeah. I would love to hear some plug talk. My theory is the fact that I feel like with what Nas is doing, and we know how the media kind of spins things and tries to denigrate anything he puts out. After King's Disease 3 came out and there was nothing that people could say about it, even on our station head when we were playing it live with everybody, I'm sitting here thinking like, how are the critics going to be able to spin this? Like, this isn't dope. And here comes 21 Savage with a irrelevant talk, right? And you and I have spoken about, and you really highlighted on this show, that King's Disease 3 is a Black Unity album.
Sure is.
And that was a test to see how Nas was going to handle this. And Nas handled this in the way that only he can. He unified the situation. And really, he put the onus on 21 where it's like, okay, we're going to reach out to you for a collaboration. What could he do at that point? All he could do was accept it. And not only did, he accept it, Nas executed on it, the song's out. And on top of that, Nas told him, yo, you and Kodak Black getting together, that'd be powerful. Again, doubling down on the Black unity. So now, Nas wins again. Obviously, he's relevant enough for you to make records with him. Nas is going to get streams on this as well, I'm sure. And 21's kind of eating his words. He sounded like he was apologizing on the song.
I don't know if he was apologizing. I think he was clarifying and edifying. And that's fine. So let's unpack a few things. Mm-hmm. And I brought this up last night when I did my station head, my little KD trilogy station head, Mike.
Yeah.
What was the name of the first single that got released from the King's Disease trilogy?
Ultra Black.
Say what? Say that again?
Ultra Black.
Yeah, see, the theme's been there.
Yeah.
He actually started off this run with Hit Boy with the Black empowerment theme. The first single from this run is called Ultra Black.
Obama used it too in his interview with LeBron.
So he's being consistent. I just want to highlight that. The consistency is there, okay? Because he actually came out with the message like fist up and literally has just been kind of sliding it in and spoon feeding it to you since then, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing that you need to realize about what's going on. Here's the next thing you need to realize. Here's a little Plug talk. Plug was telling us behind the scenes to stop tripping. Like this whole time all this been going on. Because she's been saying, well, you know, you might not be looking at it from Nas' perspective, including to me. You know what I mean? She's not just talking to the fan base that way. Like, she's talking to me that way, too. You know? And so this is why, because, no, he's consistent. He's consistent with the things that he puts down on record and puts in proof to life. So, like, you know, so phone calls were made. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I'm glad I like also that he brought up the ring on, on the song, which lets you know that he was listening to Kodak Black's rant too.
Correct.
I love Kodak, by the way.
No, he's paying attention. That's what I'm saying. No, he's paying attention. And he's got people in place that pay attention for him too.
Yeah.
So he's not missing anything, which is just how a boss is supposed to move. That's how a boss is supposed to move.
Best rapper in the game.
He's the best rapper in the game, but this is how a boss is supposed to run his business too. This is how you run an operation. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, this is what I mean. People need to be looking at the Black empowerment of it. They also need to be looking at how he's running the operation from the front and from the back. So he's handling this behind the scenes like he's handling it from the front, consistently and with integrity and with keeping us unified and in line and intact. And when a boss moves that way, right, and when a boss moves that way, people should do what?
Fall in line.
Thank you.
What else could 21 do?
So now let's get to the actual business side of this, Mike. Well, there are numbers involved in this. And here's one thing, quite frankly, and this is, and I told the Plug this literally last night and this morning. This some bullshit the way that his fans have failed him, because this song with 21 is literally, if it's not number one on iTunes and on every streaming platform right now, it was in second place this morning, like only 12 hours in. And if it reaches number one, and it probably will, if it hasn't, I'd be surprised. It'll be his first time going number one on iTunes and on these streaming service platforms. And you want to know why that is? Because when 21's fan base saw that he got with Nas, they didn't start tweeting out about how they wanted to hear fucking Illmatic and it was written. They was like, oh, power move. Everybody all in, and his shit's moving up. And it's proof to life that Nas's fan base has failed him, because none of the Kings Disease 3, none of the KD3 shit is moving like this record. And we know there's superior records on there now, don't we?
Well, I disagree with you on this.
No, I'm talking about the numbers, Mike. You can't disagree with numbers.
No, this is what I'm disagreeing with. I think that the fan base has done what they're supposed to do. I think the 90s hip-hop fan base in general, I think the engaged fan base, I mean, we've seen people galvanize. And I also, speaking of the numbers, I mean, I'm wearing this jacket today, and I'm going to speak to this a little later. I don't believe these fucking numbers that come out of these streaming farms and all this other stuff. I don't. And again, I've said it on shows before. It seems like the people that the media has it out for somehow do crazy low numbers, and the people who have the media backing somehow do crazy high numbers. I don't believe the Game's numbers. I don't believe the Baby's numbers. I really don't believe these King Disease 3 numbers either. So I'm not quick to jump on the fans like that. But I will say, from a strategic standpoint,
look at the way 21 people moving though.
With somebody like 21, who just did this record with Drake, he's clearly in the system. Do a record with him, of course, all the numbers are right in line. And I don't know if he has a fan base like that.
Well, I want you to pause. Well, here's what I mean. Let's have some more Plug talk. This is what I mean about, like, the failure on this side, though. Like, they reached out to the fan base and asked the fan base if they felt like Nas should do a feature run this year before King's Disease 3. And the fan base was like, nah.
But you're asking the fans from an artistic standpoint as opposed to...
what they want to hear in a time where you have interaction and can touch the fans. Right.
Yeah, but again,
and they told and I told the Plug, no, Mike, let me finish. This is what I told the Plug. I said, that is some of the craziest shit I have ever heard. Never listen to these fans again, because if you listen to these fans, they'll have this nigga making Memory Lane and The World Is Yours and New York State of Mind over and over again. I got that. It's good. When I want to hear it, you want to know what I do? Mike, when I want to hear it, I play it because he already made it.
Again, I think Jay went through that around the Blueprint 3 time.
Yeah,
It was like, want my old shit, buy my old albums. You know what I mean? But
I played the setup yesterday morning. It was glorious.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know this as a recording artist as well. Even if you went in the studio and tried to duplicate something that you made previously, you can't do it. I mean, for people who've never recorded before, recording something, it happens at one time, at one place, kind of like the day of the week. Like, you know what I mean?
Like playing a basketball game, Mike.
It's
You're only
November.
going out to hoop on the court for that day.
It's November 30th, 2022. We're never going to get November 30th, 2022 again. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're never going to jump in the studio and sound the same exact way that you did on a record again. It's not going to happen. So the only thing you can do is make new stuff. And I think that's why artists always cling to making new music. I think it's a blessing for artists that have such classics and go out there and perform them year in and year out. Like I ran into Cool from Cool and the Gang at the airport, right? Mm-hmm. And I asked him and a couple of the band members, like, do y'all ever get tired of, perform and celebrate? Because they got so many great records. It's like, nah, that's the cash cow. You know what I'm saying? That's why people call us to perform overseas and everything. We give the people what they want. But deep down as a musician, you want to continue to create, and you want people to appreciate some of those new creations as well. So it's kind of a gift and a curse. It's like those classics are great because they keep your name alive. But fans have to realize that, you know what, we got to kind of move past that and listen to some of the new things that are being said. As long as, the quality's there. And it's rare that the quality is there. And in this situation, it is.
Well, this is what I'm saying. When Nas releases an album with no features and it's doing the numbers that it's doing, and he drops one song with 21, Mike, on a Tuesday at 9 o'clock, and we waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning and it's number 2 trending towards number 1 every year, and the views on YouTube are almost equivalent to that of the Michael and Quincy video when there ain't no damn video to this. Like, no, there's a separation in how fan bases is moving right there. I hear what you're saying respectfully.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying respectfully about not trusting the numbers and about that 90s frame of view, because I'm going to be honest with you, more plug talk. I didn't understand how this streaming shit really worked truly until I talked to the plug. So all those things that you're saying are true. And I'm saying even with those things being said, the shit still don't add up, Mike. Like, it still don't add up. The same way you about to talk about this Thriller stuff. And I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you when you go on your diatribe, Mike. I'm going to tell you and be like, Mike, you're right. That shit don't add up.
It does.
And the shit don't add up here either.
There's 3 things in play. I think, what you're saying, there's legitimacy to that. Like a lot of younger fans just have more time and, No,
but it's the fact you don't hear 21's fan base trashing this record. Like, you got people running up here as soon as the record drops. Why he get with 21? Why he do that? It's like, nigga, why are you still asking him to make Life's a Bitch?
Well, you know what? A lot of that
him and AZ are fine.
A lot
AZ's
of that
on Do or Die 3 now. He's on KD 3.
I don't know where you saw some of this, but a lot of the stuff that
Twitter.
I've been seeing.
You can go to Twitter, you can go to Instagram. These
niggas
but
I think a lot of that could be agent talk, and a lot of that could just be people trying to be detractors or whatever. But I mean, a lot of the stuff that I heard, especially with the post that Nas put with it, was like, that's how you handle it, like real men. You know what I'm saying? Like, so outside the song, you know what I mean? Just the sentiment alone, and just when you see people, quote unquote, having problems, or the internet, because that's what it is. The internet was sitting here stewing up, kind of like a generation war, per se, for lack of a better term. What you do is bridge that gap. And I mean, and Nas did that. And I don't see how anybody on any level could hate on that. Unless you on some agent shit. You should want 2 generations of hip hop to come together.
Community love, providing jobs. Why would you come for me? Why you ain't proud of Nas?
Right. Man with the super chat says the track dropped and Nas stopped the world again. 100. Mad Max says all the fans do that though, Coop. I have to hear a Drake fan slightly older than me argue with young kids about how old Drake better than new Drake. That does happen to every fan base. If you've been around long enough, you're gonna have people who like the earlier version of you and not the later version of you. Again, Jay-Z's gone through that.
There, first of all, Nas has gone through that too.
He's gone through that a few
That's
times.
what I'm saying. He's already gone through that. That shouldn't be happening right now. He's already been through that, and there's no reason for him to there's nothing, literally nothing, conceptually or lyrically about what this man's done in the last 18 months that's not comparable to what he did at his peak.
No,
You
I agree
understand what I'm
with you.
saying?
You know, collectively. And see, the thing is,
There's
a lot
nothing
of
to
the
say.
times when people
nothing to
do
talk
that
about.
stuff, it's a quality conversation. And it's not a quality conversation here because
It's some rap shit though,
Yeah.
so it's supposed to be a quality conversation. You
No,
know what
but
I'm
I'm
saying? 'Cause we
saying,
on some
like,
rap shit.
you can't sit here and be like, all right, well, this King's Disease series isn't quality. That's why I gravitate to the earlier stuff. That argument's not in play here. You know what I mean?
Well, you can't say he don't rhyme the way that he used to either. It's like
Yeah.
you heard Magic. It's like you can't say he's not making classic records. Have you heard Store Run? Nobody.
Yeah.
Speechless. Mike and Quincy. I submit Fun. Legit. It's like no. It's like you can't say these things. It's like well, he don't make bangers. Spicy. 27 Summers. 30.
I think a lot of that
Get
stuff,
Light.
Coop, I think a lot of that stuff is just people being out of touch. You know how like when you just get in mixed company at the barbershop or whatever, people you know that really just either listen to the radio or listen to old stuff all day or really isn't in tune with what's going on, they'll be like, man, hip hop sucks right now. You know, you hear people say stuff like that, but it's like, no, you're just not in tune to what's going on. Like I remember hearing people say that around like 2018, and 2018 was a dope year for hip hop. I heard people saying that in 2020 when we had Alfredo, we had From a King
Pray
to
for
a
Paris.
God out here. Pray for Paris was out here.
King's Disease.
So, yeah, King's Disease. I think a lot of people say those things and they're just not in tune and they're not in touch with what's going on. And the only thing that they see and hear is like the stuff whenever they just flick on the radio, whenever their kid's in the car and they hear Lil Baby over and over with auto-tune or something.
It's just,
And that's not being disrespectful. I'm just being real. A lot of them songs just sound the same. But that's not the whole game. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of options out there. I just think people just don't know where to go. But that's kind of why we exist. We're kind of that filter to let people... Because I know people ain't got time to listen to everything. We ain't got time to listen to everything. But we try to guide people in the right direction for the new shit that's coming out.
You think I want to listen to all this damn rap? No. But we haven't... No, for real. We said that we was going to do something, and we're going to do it. And so... when I'm pulling up like the last 2 years and I'm like, no, he's not just the greatest MC of all time. He's the greatest MC right now. He's making the best albums. He's making the best songs. He's the most versatile. He's literally checking every single box. The media is definitely doing something. It's like, no, I'm not saying that as a fan. I'm saying that as somebody. It's like, no, that's my job. I listen to so much rap music. I'm telling you that he's making a far superior quality product to anybody else. And the only people in the conversation in terms of quality the last couple of years are coming out of Griselda or Gibbs.
Well, I was going to say, 2020, we said that Conway was the best rapper in the game. 2021, we said Nas was the best rapper in the game. He dropped KD2 and Magic. And now here we are in 2022. He's still the best rapper in the game.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, he's been at a bare minimum. He's been the best MC in the game right now from the moment King's Disease 2 came out. From the moment King's Disease 2 dropped, he's been the best MC in the game, and it's not a discussion.
Yeah, he hadn't let up the gas. I think that...
It's not a discussion. It's like whoever you think is second, you can say it's Cole, Conway. Y'all Kendrick fans that like that mid that he just put out, y'all can still say him if you want to. Like whoever you want to say, just understand that person that you think, they number 2. Gibbs, Benny, Rock, Meth,
Yeah.
Ray,
Lupe.
Kiss.
Hey, shout out
They're
to
not better
Mickey
than
Fax,
Nas
man.
right now.
Shout out to Mickey Fax. Well, I talked to him earlier this week, man. He said, man, appreciate the love for all the, I think we put like best diss record of the year for his diss record that was against. Actually, I think it's one of the strongest diss records. Period. When he buried Royce, and he was like, "Man, thanks for the love and this and that. We just really been busy and hadn't been able to connect." But yeah, shout
It
out to
was
Mickey
honest.
Facts. It's a lot of MCing going on, and with all that being said, to say that Nasir Jones is the best rapper in the game right now, it's like LeBron being the best player in the NBA right now, which he's not. But I'm just saying, if that were the case,
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. That's exactly what it's like. It's like how's the old dude
even
not supposed to be
more.
running?
Yeah.
I mean, and here's the thing about it. I mean, this is no knock to LeBron. I mean, when LeBron still steps on the court right now, he's a top 10 player.
Oh yeah, and that's
What you would
huge.
expect, and that's what you would expect of even somebody like a Nas, which would be pretty huge. It's like no, he's Luca right now. It's like 33, 8 and 8.
Man, Luca
He's
was like
Luca
what,
right now.
42,
It's
12, and
like
12 last night.
yeah, I know. Did you watch the game? That was the best basketball game this year.
That
Oh, they
dude.
was going at it. That felt like a playoff game. They was going at it. It was on the verge of getting chippy. I was like, yo, it's like only 25 games into the season. It's like it's about to be a squab out here.
That's what I like about Luca, man. Luca gets chippy out here, man.
No.
He don't give a
That's
fuck.
why I'm gonna tell you what. Did you see that clip where Jordan is at when they're at the celebration and Jordan like sees Luca and like walks right up to him? It's like, oh
Respect.
no, because he sees it. He sees it.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Mike is walking up to you like that, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, everybody else walks up to Jordan. He walked
Yeah,
up to
no. He see what he see in Luca. He like, yeah, he's like, this motherfucker's a killer.
Killer. Lucy with the super chat says, is Nasir better than Magna Carta? Yes. Next question. Everything's better than Magna Carta. I say that respectfully. I think that might be Jay-Z's worst album.
It might be.
Kingdom Come's better than that.
It's not saying a lot.
Jay Short with the super chat says, I would love if Nas did a One World type of project with a bunch of collabos with younger artists from everywhere. That would be a smart strategic move, too, to place him as a hip-hop figurehead. And we want to talk about streams. Boom.
Can I piggyback off of that right quick?
Go ahead.
Well, that's exactly what the fuck I hope he does.
I hope so.
Stop listening to these 40, 50, 60, get off my lawn ass niggas for real. Stop listening to these dudes. These dudes are whack. They're played. They haven't really bought your shit on a regular basis in a long time. They just poke their heads out when they hear something that they don't like.
Or just hear something to say they don't like it.
Right. And you need to make music that makes you happy, keeps you current, and keeps you relevant. Because here's the thing. Flow-wise, delivery-wise, timing-wise, voice-wise, well, he sounds young.
Well, that's what I got from the song, too. It sounds like he's having fun.
Can we get Gunna and Thug out? Can we get him on a record with Gunna?
Sounds like he's having fun. Yeah, that Gunna and Thug, man, after seeing that Metro trailer, man, I was like, damn, man.
Damn.
KC1 with the super chat says, 96 Nas and 96 Prodigy were the best MCs of the 90s. I ain't mad at that. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, Dale did the same concept Biggie and DMX did before them on Worldwide from his second album in 1993. I can believe that. Dale is a creative motherfucker.
Yeah, Dale the funky homo sapien.
Shout out to Dale, man. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, I was just thinking, how many times has Nas had an album of the year in your opinions? Last year, this year, 94.
So that's 3.
I think that's about it off the top of my head.
But that's what I'm saying. That's just like Tom Brady having 3 MVPs, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he got 3 MVPs, but it's like...
but every year, he's right there.
Well, no. It's not... And I always tell people this. Well, Tom Brady has finished second 6 times, right? Right.
Wow. Yeah.
Which means he's literally been a step away from having 9. And so when I look at... And this is what I mean about even top 5 in it. And here's what I'll tell you. Oh, well, you're not going to find one rapper with more top 5 albums per year than him because he done put out a top 5 rap album in so many years and in tough years. 94, top 5 rap album. 96, top 5 rap album. 2001, top 5 rap album.
Definitely.
2002.
Yeah, 2002 as well.
Top 5 rap album. It's Godson 2003.
Nah, Godson's 2002.
Is that the lost tapes of both of those 2002?
Yeah, both of those came out the same year.
Okay. So same thing with Life is Good in 2012.
And
You
actually,
feel what I'm saying?
Streets Disciples celebrating an anniversary today.
Okay, that's not a top 5 rap album that year. We're gonna keep it
It's
pushing.
not.
We're gonna keep it pushing. We're gonna stay positive,
Life is
stay with
good
the
is
unity.
though. Life is good is though.
Life is good. So we got 5 top 5 album years right there. And keep in mind, it could be separated because if you were to slide Godson or Life or Lost Tapes over, you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So he's already got 5 top 5 years. And that's not counting the KD run. So he's got King Disease 1, 2, 3, Mad. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The motherfucker got like 10 MVP caliber seasons.
No,
he's
you're
first
right.
team all NBA half his career.
Right. Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says Andre 3000's Can't Wait featuring Sleepy Brown.
That's not
how that goes.
No.
It's Sleepy Brown's Can't Wait featuring Outkast. It's how that goes.
So
but I love Andre's verse.
That.
I love Andre's verse on there. What he was like.
You see how people twist it? Did you just hear that?
Yeah.
People really think that's Andre's record. That's not Andre's record.
Leather in the winter, silk in the summer. This is such an art. Where do I begin? And that's actually on the Barbershop soundtrack as well. CJ Kidd with the $20 super chat showing super love says Prodigy in his book said that Nas, Biggie, Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep, Jay-Z brought the East Coast back from the West. What's your opinion on that statement, and could you rank Illmatic, Into the 36, Ready to Die, The Infamous, and Reasonable Doubt? Since it's a $20 super chat, let's see. I got Illmatic. I have... Do you have Ready to Die over the 36?
Chambers?
Yeah.
No.
You said that emphatically. I mean, I don't know if it, I mean, Ready to Die is more complete.
No, it's not. Then Enter the Wu-Tang?
I personally like Enter the Wu-Tang more, but I didn't know if I was being biased.
For you again. Shame on a nigga. Can it be all so simple? The mystery of chess boxing. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. Cream, Method Man, Protect Your Neck. That's 7 all-time classic records on
Well, I'm glad we're
album.
on the same page. I'm glad we're on the same page.
7.
Because again, when I challenged something with Ready to Die, y'all looked at me like I was crazy.
Clan in the front. Let your feet stomp.
Illmatic.
Niggas to the left. Brag shit to death. No. When Clan in the front is the 8th best song on your album, it's better than almost everything ever made. Enter the Wu-Tang's a top 10 rap album. There's not a question about that. That's a top 10 rap album.
All right, so we got Illmatic, Into the 36, then Ready to Die, then Reasonable Doubt, then The Infamous. That's how I got it.
I would go Illmatic, Enter the Wu-Tang, The Infamous, Ready to Die, Reasonable Doubt. That's just me.
You got The Infamous over Reasonable Doubt. All right, as far as bringing the East Coast
back. The beats on
The
Infamous are better than the beats on Ready to Die and on Reasonable Doubt. And Prodigy has an MC is comparable to Big and Jay on The Infamous. And he actually has more quotable lines on The Infamous than they have on their debut projects.
I think Reasonable Doubt's the better album, in my opinion. I love The Infamous.
It's not more quotable. It doesn't have better songs.
Not more quotable?
No.
I don't know about that.
Hold on. Where Jay get the evils from?
I mean, DJ
All right,
Premier.
He got it from Prodigy.
Yeah, right. But that's not on The Infamous though.
Right, that's on that shot. Exactly. You get what I'm saying. But
so they ain't got nothing to do with The Infamous.
But no. Prodigy on The Infamous is one of the most quotable like rap albums ever. Like people have taken shit from there. Beware. Big Pun took that. Shook One's Part 2. It's just better than Reasonable Doubt to me. I'm sorry.
I disagree wholeheartedly. Now, as far as bringing the East
Coast
back,
I'll Patreon that with you any day that you want to.
I would love to do that. I'm down with that. Too. Now, what I was going to say, though, as far as bringing the East Coast back, I mean, obviously it was a collective effort, but I think that Biggie's on the forefront of that. Because at the end of the day, Biggie was able to not only do the East Coast sound, but he was making records that was spinning worldwide during a time where radio really wasn't playing hip-hop during the day like that. And Biggie and Pac were the ones that made those commercially viable rap records and still had, like, album shits. So if you want to talk about somebody who was able to balance out what the West Coast was doing, because Dre, Snoop, and Pac, they were making radio records. Biggie was the one for Cube too, yeah. Big was the one from the East that, was able to kind of combat that while everybody else was kind of holding down the foundation. So I would give Big the lead when it comes to bringing the East Coast back, even though Illmatic did a lot to bring the East Coast back from a foundational standpoint.
That's what I mean. Okay, so here's what I think is what happened. I think Midnight Marauders and Enter the Wu-Tang set Illmatic and Ready to Die up for success.
Yeah.
So I think those albums, those 4 albums in succession, are what brought the East Coast brought back to prominence in various ways. Midnight Marauders brought core, fun-sounding hip-hop back that didn't involve gangster rap and made it epically great, like they did on the Low End Theory. So when they came back with Midnight Marauders, it was like, oh, boom, this is what the East Coast rap that traditional East Coast fans love to stand by and love the sound of.
Let me tell you something about Tribe, though. When Tribe was making what they were making back in the day, same thing with Daylight. I never associated them with New York. You know what I mean? I just heard nice songs. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I did. It's definitely like maybe not Daylight, but Tribe is East Coast sounding to me. It's Q-Tip. It's the beats. It's the drums, Mike. Yeah. It's East Coast. Yeah, it's East Coast. Into the Wu-Tang is new East Coast. You know what I mean? And so that kind of kept both of those flames and those demographic alive. It's like the album dropping the same day. It's like, well, you have the old and the new right there, looking for something because the West Coast is running shit. Illmatic brought rhymes back to hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
The rhyme pattern too.
Right. Like Nas brought lyrics and lyricism and like concepts and flow and themes like back to the forefront. Big brought East Coast back to the forefront on a public way. You know what I'm saying? Like on a hip hop basis, it's Nas. On a public format, it's Big. Radio. Because nobody's trying to rhyme like Big in '94. I swear, they're trying to rhyme like Nas. You feel me?
Big brought the radio, man.
Right, that's what I mean about like the public, the forefront of it. But niggas wasn't trying to rhyme like Big in '94.
Because down here, I mean,
trying to rhyme like Nas in '94.
I used to get my East Coast fix of music through TV, outside of just buying albums back then. But yeah, Atlanta radio wasn't playing, Wu-Tang like that. And I love Wu-Tang. I had to go to Rap City and Yo MTV Raps for Wu-Tang. Now, Big stuff was getting played down here.
See, I don't know how it went. Like, I was in Charlotte. I'd moved to Charlotte when all of this started happening. But I had access to all this stuff because I had 2 older cousins who were heads. So Ready to Die, Enter the Wu-Tang, Strictly for My Niggas, Midnight Marauders, Del the Funky Homo Sapiens, No Need for Alarm, Casual, Fear Itself, Big L Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous, like all those 93, 94 tapes. Yeah. Oh, my cousins had those. So when I moved to Charlotte is actually when I fell in love with hip hop again, because you have to understand, they put me onto the shit when they're living with me on the East Side in 88, 89, 90. I don't see them for like 3 or 4 years. They were my access. So when I pulled back up to Charlotte is when I got access again because they were heads. And so it's like all that shit I had immediate access to again. It was like heaven. Southern Playalistic.
Yeah. I love that time period, that 93 to 95. Like we was bumping everything from Doggy Style to Southern Playalistic. Then you had some Biggie over here. You had East 1999 over here. Spice One was getting a lot of burn. Like everybody was listening to everyone down here. And I think that's some of the advantages that we have. I know a lot of people feel like we kind of got a East Coast centric show, but from a lot of my a lot of my friends on the East Coast, that's all they were hearing because the East Coast was so heavy in the 90s. They didn't get a chance to really listen to anybody else because it was so much going on the East Coast. With us being down here, we got like an even kill of everything.
I'm going to tell you what happened and how Southern hip hop really came into my life more is when my older cousins got cars and wanted systems. Yeah. That's when I started hearing 3-6 and UGK. And because before that, it was more like we were raised in the late 80s on some East Coast rap shit. There was nobody down here but the Ghetto Boys.
Yeah.
So outside of their first tape, and you have to understand, the Ghetto Boys were so controversial back then down in the South that it's like, I can remember my aunt making a fuss about Cuz having the Ghetto Boys tape. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they were like the down South
it's like they really like these dudes are murderers. Like, what you doing listening to these niggas? Like,
They were really the down South NWA at that point.
Really? Yeah, no, it was really like that.
Yeah, so, Jay Short with the super chat says, can't wait, it's Sleepy Brown featuring Outkast. Yes, sir, got to correct that. We got to give proper credit where proper credit is due. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, every week 3,000 hate. What's the backstory? There's no hate. We're just stating facts. What did we? All right. Take all of that
See,
emotion out of it. What did
you
we
gotta say it
say?
so nicely to
What did
people.
we say that was inaccurate?
You be nice to people now, Mike, when you talk about Andre, because the way that we're saying this is making so many people uncomfortable. Like you were saying something that is untrue or without facts or that needs some sort of correction. We have to say it softly and quietly and nicely so people understand it. He doesn't have any solo records.
No solo
that are
rap records.
songs.
We have to be very
He has no
specific.
solo No, I was going to finish. He has no solo records that are rap songs.
Yeah.
Nobody's mad. Nobody's hating. It's not even fair to Lauryn Hill to place him ahead of Lauryn Hill because Lauryn Hill has made The Final Hour, Doo-Wop, and Lost Ones, which are certified great to classic rap songs that deserve recognition in the canon of hip hop. And when you place somebody ahead of somebody, even like Lauryn Hill, who barely raps but can show up and have the verse of the year like she does last year, you want to know? I'm about to go down a rabbit hole. Mike, go ahead and take it away.
Iniquity.
A word from our sponsors.
Iniquity is better than Day in the Life of Andre 3000. It is from her Unplugged. Andre.
The verse on Guantanamera.
Yeah. I mean, her verse on Everything is Everything. Great verse.
Her verse
Leroy
on Nobody
Green.
on last year's album of the year, King's Disease 2, which was literally verse of the year before Magic came out.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop asked the plug, what's up with Nas and Jay-Z premiere Watch the Throne 2, the GOAT debate? Well, before the plug, you give the plug's answer, I'm going to give my statement. I think at this point, first of all, I don't think Nas needs that at this point. I think Jay would need that more, but I don't think Jay would even do that at this point. He has so much catching up to do. If we don't talk about records, if we're talking about in that competitive aspect,
about 50 records down.
Yeah, he's got some catching up to do. So I think the last thing he would want to do. Down. Yeah, the last thing he would want to do right now is make a whole album with the guy who's this much in rhythm too. It wouldn't be good. Eric Terrell, do you have any plug talk for that? No?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not about to.
Eric Terrell with the super chat says, stick to the same hood talk. You're a hero spreading your wings, showing all your talent, and the criminal Glad Prince and Marvin spread their wings. Let's see. I think we got some more super chats before we get on to that next thing. Let's see. Peter Parks with super chat. Shout out to Peter Parks. Mike is right. Atlantic just got caught for fake streaming their artists. You know, DJ Academic was putting them on blast. So I was like, and everything that Academic was saying, I mean, I don't know it to be true, but it didn't sound unbelievable to me. Melvin Wright with the super chat says, KD3 was not promoted properly compared to 1 and 2. His fans not checking for music platforms. I just argued with the guy that still buys $2 bootlegs. I'm like, bro, $9.99 for a subscription. That's 5 CDs a month you buy. Lord.
It's a mentality. Walk away from him, step away from him, and never go back. Just step away from him.
It's never a mentality.
Step away from him.
36 Chambers says, Joe Budden podcast had an interesting perspective. Nas is amazing still, but doesn't go off like verbal intercourse level bars on some spaz shit. That's why people have been complaining about new Nas. Are y'all complaining about verbal intercourse?
Else, when people say that, do you understand how absurd that sounds? This is what that sounds like.
You know what that sounds like? It's like complaining about 97 Jordan saying, yo, he's not jumping from the free throw line anymore, man. I don't want to see what this nigga's doing, man.
Right. Yeah. That's like saying everything past Tom Brady's 07 season. It's like, well, it's really not 07 Brady. Remember them bombs he was dropping on Moss, like pinpoint, like every pass was on point. It's like, yeah.
It was like
no, for real. Like in 2007, like Tom Brady threw like 15 bad balls like that year. You feel me? It's like, so he's not doing that again. And
Like what?
Neither is anybody else. So you understand that neither is anybody else. When people are like, well, he's not the guy that wrote Verbal Intercourse or Taking in Blood. Have you heard somebody else come along and do Verbal Intercourse or Taking in Blood? Like,
Wow.
where? Show me the guy. Where is he?
We're gonna talk about Thriller in a
We would
moment,
be
but that's
calling them
another
the GOAT
one.
right now if we had seen that person. I want some evidence that there is somebody else other than Nas that has come up and produced a Verbal Intercourse.
I don't know
are
what to
people
say.
talking about? No, I want them to get off my lawn now. I have a house, I have a front yard and a backyard. I want you're not the deer sit on the side, the foxes are in the back, the squirrels and the chipmunks are in the front, but all of y'all gotta get the fuck off. You gotta get off. Stay off my
were
lawn.
we really watching the 97, 98 Jordan saying, yo, he's not averaging 38, man. He's not averaging 38, 8 and 8 no more, man. I ain't fucking with him, man. He's
right. That's pretty much what you're saying. Is it's like that guy that can go get you 50 points on 2-point jump shots all game that's dunking on everybody and jumping out the gym. It's like, well, he don't do that every game.
Man,
I don't like that guy. I don't like that guy that gets me 36 and 6 and goes and wins the championship. Like, right. I don't like that guy.
Mad Max with the super chat says 21 has a fan base. He don't have a cult like Kodak, Uzi, Cole, Dot, Future, Drake, etc. 21 is a feature rapper, and people like him for some reason, but they don't have love.
Do a song with all of them. Do a song with all of them, I say.
Yeah.
If you haven't done a song with them already, go ahead and do it now.
I would like to see Kodak and Nas though, for real. And
I told you, Benny got a song with Nas. We know Conway got a song with Nas. That's two of the top 3 Griselda members that we know have a song with Nas in the can.
Adole with the super chat says, don't believe the numbers. I have streamed KD3 my entire 10-hour shift every night, 6 nights a week since it dropped. But Spotify tells me Beat Breaks is my most streamed song. Sad. It's all lies. Interesting. See, that's evidence as somebody who actually did the test. That's placement, though. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, these platforms, listen, I'm just going to say it. These platforms take marketing dollars to play certain songs in certain areas and on certain playlists. It's kind of like when we used to go in the record store. I mean, I know you worked in the record store, but even the mainstream ones like Virgin Music and the Mega Store and Blockbuster Music, all that stuff.
Camelot.
Certain artists, they had the damn billboard there with their albums right there in the front. The labels pay for that placement. So if the labels are paying for that kind of placement, you don't think that the labels are paying for digital placement? 36 Chambers with the super chat says, bias is showing, but 36 Chambers over ready to die. Definitely 36. I see the bias, but you're correct.